Hi, folks. Welcome back to the Tabletop's Edge. I hope everyone's off to a great start so far in 2025. Today, I've got just a short video on some of the channel goals that I'm going to try to achieve this year over the next 12 months. As many of you know, 2024 was a pretty rough year, and it seemed like every time I was finally turning the corner on various issues that were keeping me from creating more video content for the channel, something else would come along. So the last several months have been pretty quiet here on the channel, much more quiet than I want them to be. And so I've been thinking over the past couple of weeks about what I want to do here in 2025 with the channel moving forward. And that's kind of what we'll talk about today. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and see what those goals are. Goal number one, make more videos. It's just that simple. Last year, the amount of content I was able to create for the channel was way below what I wanted it to be. And so I'm hoping to change that this year. Now, ideally, I would love to be able to get a video uploaded once every week, but I just don't think that that's realistic. So what I'm aiming for is something more along the lines of at least 2 to 3 videos per month. Now, there may be some months where I get more than that, where it is 4, 5, maybe even 6 videos in a given month. And if so, I'll take it. I'll count that as a win. But what I'm really kind of aiming for is more along the lines of 2 to 3 videos per month. I do think that's achievable, and I'm going to really be kind of focusing on that and making sure that I can make that happen. So that's the biggest overriding goal for the channel this year is more content, more videos. The second goal for the channel involves the ongoing World in Flames Days of Decision combined campaign playthrough series that's been going on the series now for quite some time. The game currently sits at the beginning of the May-June 1940 turn, and my goal by the end of this year is to advance the game to the point where we are at least at the beginning of 1942. So the January-February 1942 turn, that means 10 turns of gameplay throughout this year. And I reckon that's probably 20 to 30 videos just in and of itself, getting through those 10 turns. When I initially conceived that playthrough series, I was hoping to do one turn or one video per turn. However, as you've seen, as more of the major powers have gotten involved in actual fighting and the amount of action that's going on map has increased, the turn length has increased, the turns have gotten more involved. And so as a consequence, the length of those episodes was starting to balloon up to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think some were even a bit longer than that. And the problem is those super long episodes take a long time to edit and put together. So recently what I've started doing is chopping up the turns into 2, maybe 3 videos per turn and bringing the length of the video of each individual episode down to about 45 minutes to maybe an hour. And I think if I can keep it in that 1 hour range, it will be a lot faster to edit the videos and to get them uploaded and get them released. So I'll be able to do a little bit shorter videos, but much more frequently. And again, I think, if I'll be satisfied if I can get to the beginning of 1942, but by no means am I going to stop there. We're going to continue through, and if things work out better this year, maybe we get well into 1942, maybe even 1943. But again, we'll just see how it goes. Bottom line is, though, when December 31st rolls around 2025, I'd like the game to be at least the beginning of January, February 1942. So that's goal number 2. For those of you that have been watching that playthrough series, thank you. Thank you for your interest as well as your patience. And I promise you, it's a very much an ongoing project. The series isn't dead. I'm not about to pack that game in anytime soon. Goal number 3, do more game review videos. Now, I'm pretty sure I have just a single game review video up on the channel so far, and that's for the Fighting Wings series, and specifically the Wings of the Motherland volume by Clash of Arms Games. And when I originally created the channel, I had intended to do numerous game reviews. I didn't want it to be strictly a game review channel, but over the past few years, there have been very few reviews as the channel's gone in some other directions, which I'm happy with the other directions and the way it's sort of organically developed, but I would like to actually do some more formal reviews. Now, the one problem, and one of the reasons why you haven't seen more reviews so far, is that in order for me to give you a thorough, hopefully intelligent, and useful for you review, is that I need to play that game quite a bit. I'm going to want to play most, if not all, of the scenarios, and certainly playing the big sort of campaign scenario that you find in most games. I'm going to want to play it solos as well as playing it opposed. All of this takes time, and as we all know in this hobby, scheduling either face-to-face or even on Vassal opposed play can be a pain sometimes. So as a result, for me to get to the point where I feel that I've got a good enough mastery of a particular game to say something intelligent about it, it's going to take me a while to do that, probably on the order of several months, maybe even several years, depending upon the size of the game, the availability of opponents, and so on. So as a result, the reviews that I do are not going to necessarily be considered maybe timely reviews. A lot of the reviews will be for older games, anywhere from a couple of years to a couple decades. Several of them may well be out of print. But I think there's still some utility in reviews for older games and even out of print games. That's because the secondary market in our hobby is extremely active, and given enough time, budget, and patience, you can track down a copy of just about any game from any publisher that's ever been printed. Stuff going back to the 70s and 80s is out there. And before you spend the money and the time and effort to go through tracking down and getting a copy of a game that maybe you've heard about, you're interested in, you think you're going to be interested in, or maybe you've heard some folks say some good things about it, being able to give you a thorough review that gives you an idea not only of what you're going to find in the box, but how it plays, what kind of problems it may or may not have, I think can be very useful for you and allow you to make that decision that, yes, this is something that I definitely want to put on my wish list and that I'm going to go out and look for. Or maybe you decide after seeing the review, no, that's really, A, it's either not my cup of tea, or B, it's probably just not worth the cost involved. So look for more reviews to come. These will be, like I said, formal game reviews. I've established a structure to my reviews. I think I've done a video on that, just explaining how I'll do the reviews. And if you are curious to see what it looks like actually in practice, you can go check out the review I've done of the Fighting Wings series, and that'll give you a good idea of what future game reviews are going to look like. In addition to formal game reviews, there are all kinds of other videos I would like to start adding to the channel. I've got a couple of ideas for some new series of videos that I'm hoping to at least start and get underway at some point this year. Of course, the playthroughs, they've been very well received by the viewers out there, and so for all of you, I thank you for that. I intend to continue doing playthroughs of various games in the same kind of style and format that you've seen for Last Blitzkrieg and World in Flames. But I've also got some ideas for videos just discussing various aspects of either game design or just the hobby in general. And one of the things I really like about YouTube is that it's kind of a community here of those of us in the hobby. And I find that watching videos where folks talk about different aspects of the hobby really kind of can start a hopefully positive dialogue on the subject. And anytime you have a good positive conversation, a free exchange of ideas, I think that can't help but increase people's engagement with the hobby, and it certainly strengthens the hobby and maybe hopefully even grows the hobby a bit. So Look for a whole bunch of new types of videos. Some of them may not be all that new, but just a little more well-rounded offering of content here on the channel. Again, the focus is going to remain Hex Encounter war games. In addition to Hex Encounter war games, I also play Euro games, especially with the wife, card games, and miniatures. But there's probably not going to be very much in the way of that kind of content, especially given the amount of time I'm able to devote to the channel. The focus is still going to be very heavily on the Hex Encounter war games and different aspects of that hobby. So there it is, the 4 big goals for the channel here in 2025. And before we go today, I just wanted to mention the games that you see here on the tabletop are a collection of games that I am hoping to do some content on at some point over the next 12 months. Now, I don't know exactly what shape that content will take for the games. In some cases, it will be playthroughs, it could be some tutorials, some formal game reviews, and maybe a surprise or two in some of the new series that I'm hoping to start up this year. But each of the individual games you see here on the tabletop are ones that I want to do at least some content for, as well as other games in that series. So these are games that are representative of their game series that I intend to do some content on, and hopefully this little sneak peek has piqued your interest for what's coming in the next 12 months. But that's going to do it for today. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you then.